Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into a really crucial report from Virtualization Options LLC, which is a Colorado-based technology research and advisory group. This explainer is all about mapping out why ethics aren't just some checkbox you tick at the end of an AI project. They are the absolute foundation.
And this quote from the report really, I think, hits the nail on the head. See, the biggest ethical failures in AI, they almost never come from people with bad intentions. Nope, they come from a simple failure to ask the really hard, fundamental questions right at the very beginning.
So, think of building an AI system like going on a journey. It's a path that is absolutely filled with hidden ethical traps. What we're doing here today is giving you the map to help you navigate that journey safely.
First up, any good journey needs a map, right? Well, for our purposes, that map is the AI project lifecycle itself.
The life cycle, it covers the whole shebang, from that first little spark of an idea all the way to how the system runs day to day. And what's so important to get is that this whole thing is an iterative process. A tiny ethical oversight at the beginning, it doesn't stay tiny. It snowballs, getting bigger and more dangerous at every single turn.
To make this whole journey a little easier to follow, we've broken it down into 3 main phases: the foundation, the build, and then the real world. Let's walk through them and see the ethical choices you have to make in each one. Okay, let's start at the very beginning with the foundation. This is so critical because this is where you are literally setting the ethical DNA for the entire project. The decisions made here, even the ones that seem small, are often the most important ones.
And this phase really forces us to ask a pretty profound question. Are we building this AI on a foundation of our stated values, or are we accidentally building it on top of decades of our hidden societal biases? All right, let me give you a classic cautionary tale. There was a company that wanted to make their hiring more efficient, so they decided to build an AI to screen resumes. They thought, hey, let's train it on our own hiring data from the past 20 years. Seemed logical, right? Well, the problem was that historical data was a perfect, detailed record of decades of human bias. The AI had no idea about right or wrong. It just got really, really good at spotting the patterns it was fed. And what happened? It basically became this super efficient engine for repeating the same discrimination from the past. Now, this is where it gets really tricky. And you can see how this illusion of accuracy is so dangerous. A company can brag that their system is 95% accurate overall. Sounds fantastic. But when you look under the hood, you might find that same accurate system is failing a specific group of people nearly half the time. That's not a rounding error. That's a disaster. So this is exactly where leadership has to draw a line in the sand. You can't just cross your fingers and hope for fairness. You have to mandate it. And that means things like requiring serious audits of your training data, insisting on checking for representation, and documenting everything from day one. Okay, so we've laid our foundation. Now we're moving into phase 2, the build. And this is where we run smack into the infamous black box problem. The big question here is all about transparency. Are we building a partner we can trust and understand? Or are we building an indefensible black box whose decisions we just can't explain when things go wrong? Okay, picture this, and the stakes could not be higher. A hospital uses this super accurate AI to help prioritize patients for a life-saving treatment. The catch? It's a total black box. It spits out answers, but nobody, not even the people who built it, can explain why.
So when regulators, or worse, patients and their families, ask why one person got the treatment and another didn't, the hospital had 0 answers. That inability to explain its own logic is what made the whole thing indefensible. It shattered trust and, of course, had to be shut down.
So how do you avoid this nightmare? Well, leaders have to put their money where their mouth is. They have to demand and actively fund what we call explainable AI. This means making transparency a non-negotiable feature from the start, not an afterthought.
But hold on, the journey isn't over just because you've built the thing. The final phase is all about what happens when your shiny new AI meets the messy, unpredictable real world. Ethical vigilance isn't a one-and-done job. It's a constant commitment. And here you have to ask a really important question. Did we build this AI to adapt and learn as the world changes, or is it just a static snapshot frozen in time? Because I can promise you, a system that doesn't adapt is a system whose ethics are guaranteed to degrade.
And this timeline is a perfect illustration of a really dangerous concept called model drift. So in year 1, you launched and everything's great. It's accurate, it's fair. But then the world keeps changing. Society shifts, data patterns change. By year 3, that once perfect model, it's now out of date, inaccurate, and cooking up all new kinds of bias, completely under the radar.
This means you can't just set it and forget it. Ethical AI demands a permanent commitment. It means you have to have scheduled reviews, you have to do regular retraining, and you need actual people, like an ethics board, whose job it is to keep an eye on these systems long after they've launched.
So after this whole journey, what's the one big thing to remember? It's this. Ethical AI is not some tech problem for the engineers to figure out. It is, first and foremost, a leadership mandate.
And look, this isn't just about playing defense and avoiding disaster. As you can see here, doing ethics right is actually a huge source of value. Sure, it reduces risk, but it also builds trust with your customers. It helps you attract the best talent, and it can become a real competitive advantage.
So that report from Virtualization Options LLC really boils it all down to these 5 essential actions for anyone in a leadership position. You have to mandate ethics at every single stage, demand transparency, fund diversity in both your data and your teams, enforce fairness reviews, and empower constant oversight. This is the playbook.
Because at the end of the day, the ethical character of your AI, it's not really a reflection of the algorithm. It's a mirror. It's a direct reflection of the values and the priorities of the leadership that brought it into the world. So the final, crucial question you have to ask is, what does your AI say about you?